Hey guys, how's it going? Slick here, and today I want to talk to you about Destiny's subclass balance. Bungie has announced that on February 14th they're going to drop a balance patch, and they will reveal the content of that balance patch on the 8th. So before they drop the patch notes, let me tell you what my class balance wish list is, because I know you're all dying to hear my dumb shit opinion. Please note, unless otherwise stated, I am universally talking about PvP balance. If you want PvE balance discussion, go watch Dado, you fucking nerd. Let's do this alphabetically, which means we start with, Bladedancer. It's Bladedancer, everybody. B is for Bladedancer. First up, skip grenades need a slight nerf to their tracking so that they are easier to kite and outrun. Right now, they follow you around the entire map, constantly tickling your butthole. Which is nice when your wife does it, but less nice when a sentient murder device from an undead super soldier does it. Another nerf I'd like to see is that after the user dies, the grenades would slowly lose damage until they detonate. This gives you two avenues of counterplay, fight or flight. You can outrun the grenade outright, or you can kill the Bladedancer to reduce the grenade's effectiveness. Arc bolts could use a slight buff to their arming and chaining radius. Arc bolts are similar to skip grenades in terms of functionality, but are better against groups, while skip grenades are better against solo targets. If you tag 3 people with an arc bolt, you've essentially tripled its damage output. Skip grenades will remain better against solo targets, but arc bolts will have more of a place in game modes where you can expect people to be bunched together, i.e. Control, Salvage, and Trials. Take that, Scories campers! The arming time should remain similar, just so you can avoid taking damage from them. The increase in range will allow for more consistent pinging, but if you are far enough away from the arming point and have quick reactions, you should be able to avoid damage altogether. Next, I'd like to indirectly buff Blink by buffing the agility stat. Right now, I feel like agility is an underutilized perk. Most Titan and Warlock players run low agility because they can still maintain top speeds with effective Titan skating and Warlock surfing. So instead, they invest in high armor and recovery. Hunters are the only ones who truly benefit from the added jump height from agility, as their movement ability is the most vertical. To give agility more parity, not only among armor and recovery, but also across all subclasses, I suggest having weapon handling affected by the agility stat. Low agility would mean slower weapon handling, and high agility would mean faster weapon handling, including weapon ready speed, weapon swap speed, ADS speed, and reload speed. If you ran 1 agility, your weapons would handle similarly to how they do now. However, if you ran 10 agility, you would note a demonstrable uptick in weapon handling speed. This would give Warlocks and Titans a reason to not run minimum agility, and for those that do run minimum agility to maintain faster movement speed, there is an adequate trade-off. With this change to agility, there would actually be a compelling reason to sacrifice armor or recovery, while currently, there is not. How much agility affects weapon handling is up in the air, and would need extensive testing to make it strong, but not too strong. Quick Draw is widely regarded as the best Bladedancer perk, and Ophidian Aspects are often regarded as the best Warlock exotic, so care must be taken to maintain balance. Now we go back to Blink. By running high agility, you could obtain similar weapon ready times out of Blink as you had in Year 1. This is balanced by the fact that you would have to sacrifice armor and recovery in order to obtain this, and Blink already has a -1 penalty to recovery as is. Furthermore, Blink no longer has the iframes it did in Year 1, so you can actually kill people mid-blink. Also, there's now a cooldown between blinks, similar to Shade Step, so it can't be mindlessly spammed. Next up, I'd like to see a small buff to Escape Artist that extends the duration of the invisibility if the melee kills the enemy, just to give it a little bit more utility. I'd also consider reducing the amount of time it takes Stalker to make you invisible. Invisibility builds are criminally underutilized in PvP, so some minor buffs might push people to experiment. Now we get to the main dude, Defender. Defender honestly is in a pretty good place right now, but I'd like to see a few changes made. Spike Grenade should do extra damage and last longer when a Ward of Dawn has been placed. Right now, Spike Grenades are really only good on Night Stalkers because of the Lockdown perk, and because the other grenades it is competing with are comparably average. Defender has access to Magnetic and the wonderful Suppressor Grenade, which leaves little room for Spike Grenades. By giving them a buff when Ward of Dawn has been placed, this gives them the added utility to make them useful. You have the option of putting them in a choke to keep enemies from collapsing on you from multiple angles, and you can also throw them inside the bubble to microwave anyone that comes inside. This is balanced by the fact that they are relatively meh when used on Defender in their current form, so requiring a super to be really good seems like a fair trade-off. I'd also like to see a change to how Iron Harvest works. I'm not a fan of RNG perks, and right now this has zero utility in PvP. I tried it. It sucks ass. My idea for a buff, on top of the orb generating perk, would be that picking up ammo increases your armor stat by 1 point for 15 seconds, with the ability to stack 3 times. This ties into the name of the perk, as you are literally harvesting iron by collecting bullets in order to activate the perk. This is balanced by the fact that you actually lose an armor point by not selecting Untouchable, and so you need at least 1 ammo brick to get you where that perk would get you, without the increased super cooldown. This also ties into the name of the class, as you are now capable of fortifying your own defense through the collection of ammo packs. The added armor effect wouldn't break this perk in PvE, as most people run Illuminated for extra damage for raid bosses, and a faster cooldown on Ward of Dawn is universally helpful in mid-level engagements such as the Nightfall and weekly heroic strikes. Iron Harvest has always been the fun perk in this tree, but hopefully this will make it an actual contender for PvP as well as PvE. Next up is Gunslinger. As a net buff to all bounce grenades, i.e. suppressor, incendiary, and flashbang, I'd like the fuse of the grenade to activate on hitting an enemy guardian. Currently, the fuse only activates once it has touched the ground. There have been plenty of times when I direct impact a grenade only for it to fly way into the air and land 30 years later, and then explode, hitting no one. For swarm grenades, the boring answer would be to increase their track speed and duration. Personally, I think an entire rework would be more interesting. My idea would be to make swarm grenades a chaff grenade. If someone throws a tracking grenade at you, deploying your swarm grenade would make the grenade heat-seek the swarm grenade instead of you. Then the swarm cluster would detonate, destroying the enemy grenade. This would also work for any grenade thrown within the swarm grenade's radius, as well as rockets. If a grenade or rocket gets close to the swarm cluster, it detonates, destroying the enemy ordnance. This would make swarm grenades more of a defensive grenade and ties in with the hunter class, specifically Gunslinger being the equipment class. I also think swarm grenades could protect you from the projectile-based supers like Golden Gun and Nova Bomb. Now I know this sounds like they would be too good, but there is some counterplay. For example, you could run Shatter on your Nova Bomb. The cluster could take out one, but not all, of the Nova Bombs. Furthermore, you could always throw your super close enough to kill the person, but far enough away to not get destroyed. Same with rockets. I use the sword in Memory of Radagast all of the time, and people do this shit to me constantly. For Deadeye, I would make it so kills with Golden Gun extend its duration to allow for more roaming. Currently, there's no need to get more damage on Golden Gun in PvP as it already one-shots everybody, and Golden Gun is already accurate enough that missing really isn't an issue. You won't get any more shots than normal, it would just extend the duration. I think the ability Keyhole should allow Golden Gun to kill through Juggernaut shields, as well as through the improved Swarm Grenade. I also think allowing Golden Gun to penetrate the same materials as armor-piercing rounds sounds like an interesting idea, albeit that may be a little bit too cheesy. On top of its normal perk, I'd like to see Over the Horizon make it so grenades and throwing knives are thrown faster and further, and equipment usage speed is faster. Once again, range on Golden Gun never really comes into play in PvP, and the perk as is kinda boring. Plus, as previously mentioned, I like the notion of the Gunslinger being the equipment class, so giving them the option to buff their equipment usage seems like an interesting idea. I'd remove the +1 to recovery to make up for the added, more useful and interesting, utility. This change plays into the name Over the Horizon perfectly. How much you want to make a bet I can throw an incendiary grenade over them mountains? And that wraps up part 1 of my Destiny subclass balance discussion. Look out for part 2, probably sometime tomorrow. Peace out, bitches! This would give Warlocks and Titans a reason to not run minimum agility. Cat, stop it! Stop it, cat! Stop scratching at the door! This would give Warlocks and Titans a reason to not run minimum agility. And for those that do run minimum agility, haha. There would, wow, just the word there would and I missed the third word, holy shit. Now we go back to Blink. By running high agility, you could obtain similar weapon ready times out of Blink as you had in year 1. This is balanced by the fact that you would have to sacrifice, oh my god, fix it, but there is now more counterplay than ever before. In year 1, with proper reaction time, you could slide under someone who blinked towards you and shoot them in the back. Or even blink yourself. Oh my god, go blink yourself, dude, Jesus. There's now more counterplay than ever before. In year 1, with proper reaction time, you could slide under someone who blinked towards you and shoot them in the back, or even blink yourself. You now also have the option of Twilight Garrison and Shade Step for evasion. Plus, shop package fell well and... Oh my god, I fucking had her. Ooh, kill me.